Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be talking about cast iron products from a French brand called Staub and pots and pans from Belgian brand Demeyere. I'm Anesu Sagonda, and I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things, whether you're young and starting out in life and wanting to reap the benefits of buying quality from the get-go, or you're new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on quality, under the radar brands, then my content is geared towards you. I'm going to attach at the end of this video a video I recorded 3 years ago where I recommended some of the best pot and pan brands, and I gave a fairly strong selection of 5 brands. 3 French, Le Creuset, Cristal, Mauville, American brand All Clad, and German brand Fissler. In that video, I received a number of comments with people asking why, or telling me to add Demeyere or Staub. Video was recorded right in the middle of the first lockdown, and it was virtually impossible to get access to any information about those 2 brands. I wanted to at least be able to see the products, talk to the brands, which I was able to with the 5 brands I recommended, but Staub and Demeyer I wasn't able to, and thought I would talk about them at a later time. That has since changed. Staub is now a lot more readily available in your luxury department stores, your luxury cookware stores. And Demeyere is still largely online, but there is one store in London that physically stocks Demeyere pots. It's a wonderful cookware store located in Essex. It's called Smiths of Loughton. I'm going to include the address details as well as their website in the description box down below. They only ship in the United Kingdom, but it's a wonderful store that showcases British luxury homeware brands. If it's something of interest, and I know I've been asked to talk more about British luxury brands, Smiths of Loughton do it very well. So to all my viewers, thank you for your patience. Demeyere and Staub are both owned by Zwilling, a German brand, very similar to Louis Vuitton, Moët Hennessy, in that they have built a fairly strong selection of brands within their portfolio. Within their portfolio, they have 2 knife brands. A Japanese knife brand called Miyabi. I'm going to attach the video above where I spoke about Miyabi knives, as well as a German brand called Henkel's, very similar in terms of the quality and craftsmanship to Wusthof. A mid-tier cookware brand called Ballerini. They also have in there Staub and of course Demeyere. Looking specifically at Staub, their core offering as a brand is cast iron products, but they do produce a number of complementing kitchen products. Think, for example, utensils, trivets, ceramics. They also produce textiles for the kitchen, your aprons, oven gloves, tea towels, for example. But the focus, as I've mentioned, is on cast iron products. Fairly diverse selection. You have grill pans, frying pans, braisers. You also have French ovens and cocottes. In theory, cocottes and French ovens work in the same manner. They're focused on moisture within the oven or cocotte rising. When it cools down, it falls back into the pot, having settled on the underside of the lid. But I'll talk in a little more detail about that in a second. In this video, I'm going to be focused on cocottes. And cocottes are something you see a lot of. The most readily available of their products, I feel. When I see Staub products, whether it's in a cookware store or luxury department store, 9 times out of 10 is the cocottes that you see. They also have Le Creuset in the same store. They're typically placed next to each other because Staub and Le Creuset are 9 times out of 10 pitted against each other, but the products couldn't be any more different. I know in the comment section people were talking about, oh, Le Creuset is better, but technically, they're 2 very different products. Firstly, with Le Creuset, their focus as a brand is on building the lightest and most thin-walled cast iron pot. It's the lightest and the most thin-walled. It's under 3 millimeters. And then their pots have 2 coatings of enamel. And that's twofold. Firstly, to maintain the heat within the pot, and also to help with the longevity of the pot itself. Pride themselves on offering a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects, something that Staub also do. But with Staub, their focus is very much on the total opposite. Their cocottes are thicker walled, heavier, bigger products coupled with the tight fitting cast iron lid that helps to lock in the moisture and the heat within the cocotte. They come in a whole selection of different sizes, different styles. You have the novelty cocottes, the garden vegetables. Think, for example, pepper cocotte, tomato, pumpkin cocotte. And they're all aesthetically pleasing enough for you to be able to prepare the food either on top of the stove, in the oven, and then present the food in the cocotte on the table. It still looks good. The cocotte come in two finishes. You have just entirely a cast iron cocotte, or you have the cocotte with the enamel coating on the outside. And you can use cocottes to prepare food either on top of the stove. You can sear meat, for example, as well as use them in the oven. So you've seared the meat, place it in the oven, and then it very slowly and gently cooks within the oven. Can also use it to produce, for example, soups, casseroles, stews. You can also roast various types of meat in a cocotte, and you can also bake bread in a cocotte. So its use is incredibly versatile. It's it's a cast iron pot with two handles on the side. And then it also comes with a solid cast iron lid, which is tight fitting and helps to maintain the moisture as well as the heat within the cocotte. Inside of the cocotte, it's cast iron. Distinct advantages and disadvantages of having a cast iron, and in particular dark cast iron. It's scratch, it's stain, it's acid resistant. You're not going to see any discoloration like you would, for example, with Le Creuset pots, because they are lighter on the inside, and you pick up on scratches or discoloration over time. You don't get that with cocottes. But the dark color does mean you need to be a little more vigilant when cleaning the cocotte. So you pick up on, for example, burnt dark bits of meat, for example, or whatever may have settled that you may not pick up on as easily, especially when you're using a lighter surfaced pot. So that's just something for you to be mindful of, being able to pick up on stains. And also when you are preparing food in there, for example, browning it, being able to tell how brown something is not as easy as it would be, for example, in a lighter surfaced pot, like, for example, Le Creuset pots. So you just need to be a little more mindful, as the browning doesn't look as apparent as it does in a lighter surface. Inside of the cocotte, this is where Staub really differentiate themselves. They've coupled the fact that their cast iron pots are thicker, they're heavier, they retain the heat and the moisture very well. But what that also works with is the lid on the underside has either bumps with the cocottes, or with the French ovens, there are swirls. And what they do is, whatever you are preparing in the cocotte, it's being prepared, moisture is released, moisture rises, the evaporated liquid that settles on the underside of the lid. When it cools down, it eventually evenly spreads and drips down back into the cocotte, and therefore self-basting whatever it is that you're preparing in the cocotte. In theory, you actually don't need to add, for example, liquid to anything you're cooking if it doesn't need it, because whatever liquid or moisture comes from what you're preparing, it's what rises and then falls again and self-bastes whatever you're cooking in the cocotte. When it comes to high-performing cookware, Demeyere very confidently own this space. Their cookware is highly performing, incredibly so. It's commercial grade cookware for the domestic environment, commercial in terms of the quality, performance, and the weight. For them to be able to achieve the high performance, the products are weighty. Top ranges, they're 3 Atlantis, Proline, and Apollo. They have 7 layers, 7 ply of highly conductive metals that are weighted. If you can overlook the weight, then you are going to be able to get very high performing cookware. They're the only brand at the top end with 7 ply. I know someone will chime in and say, oh, on Amazon you can get other brands, but Demeyere is a totally different league. It's head and shoulders ahead of its competitors. If you're somebody who wants nothing but the very best, high performing, you can overlook the weight, then Demeyere any day, all day. There are a couple of comments within the best pot and pan video with people saying money's not an issue, what do you recommend? Then I say Demeyere. If you're somebody who's fortunate enough to have help at home, a housekeeper, a cleaner, a private chef, then I highly recommend Demeyere. In the home series where I talk about kitchen appliances and other homeware products, I often say if you are going to spend tens of thousands on clothes, for example, very good quality clothes in terms of the craftsmanship, the materials used, or monthly you spend hundreds if not thousands of pounds on very good quality food, free range, organic, premium quality, then you need high performing kitchen appliances. So for example, a refresh butler for your clothes, a refrigerator that's able to achieve the low temperature consistently and maintain it to ensure that the high quality food you're buying remains fresh for longer. Same applies to your worktops, your stoves, for example. You're buying some of the best 400 series from Gaggenau, V6000 from Vizog, then you need complementing cookware. That's going to bring out the best from both. But once you start, it's ripple effect. High performing stove or oven, and then complementing cookware from Demeyere. You need somebody who's good in the kitchen, a private chef. You need good quality ingredients and so forth. As I always say, when you have additional disposable income or you're wealthy, money should touch every aspect of your life. Coming back to Demeyere, entry level, they have a 3-ply range called Resto. Bottom level is magnetic stainless steel, middle is aluminium, and then the top is stainless steel. Next level up, you have the 5-ply, which is the industry. Bottom level is magnetic stainless steel, the middle 3 levels are aluminium, and then the top is stainless steel, and it's base to rim. What you will find is that pretty much all the brands at the top end that I've spoken about, Morville, All Clad, Cristal, for example, all of their cookware is a mixture of stainless steel and aluminium, and that's because aluminium is a good heat conductor. So you'll find it consistently within the different brands, and it's just down to how many layers they place. Is it aluminium at the core, the strength of it and so forth, which determines how efficiently and effectively the pot is able to take up heat, spread it across the base, and then maintain the heat within the pan so you evenly cook the food and you don't get any hot spots. That's where the magic is. But within this 5-ply zone, you have industry range from Demeyere. You also have other competitors, D5 from All Clad, M Cook from Morville, and Castle Pro from Cristal. They're all very similar, very good quality, mixture of aluminium and stainless steel. What I think is the ultimate decider is what you like the look of, what is readily available in your home market, and if it's within your budget. Bear in mind sales and promotions. You can get better prices if you're willing to wait and also look around. But within the 5-ply space, you have 4 fantastic brands. You're spoiled for choice. And if you're not in a position or you don't want to upgrade to 7-ply, for example, the very best, which is even heavier, then 5-ply will serve you incredibly well in terms of performance and longevity, provided, of course, you look after your cookware. Looking at the top 3 ranges, you have Atlantis at the top, and then just below Atlantis, on equal footing, you have Proline, focused on frying pans, and then Apollo, focused on pots. As I mentioned before, all are 7-ply. They have 7 layers of stainless steel and aluminium, or stainless steel, silver, copper, all highly conductive metals. With all 3 ranges, what you'll find is the composition, the aesthetic of the pots is very similar. All Demeyere pots are made using 1810 stainless steel, but they have additional technology added to the construction of the pot, Silvernox. Silvernox ensures that polished look of the silver remains, it doesn't tarnish, it doesn't diminish over time, you don't get any smudging or fingerprints on the pots. It makes them easy to clean, it's hygienic. What you'll also get as a common feature between the 3 ranges is the pouring rim as well as the lid. You don't get any spillages, and it also helps to ensure that the cookware is efficient. You're maintaining the moisture and the heat within the cookware. And then what you'll also find is that the handles are welded on. A number of brands have rivets. With rivets on the inside, you will find that over time with usage, in the little crevices, food will accumulate. Something that's not particularly hygienic, especially if you're not able to clean out all the food, and it accumulates and it's just incorporated within the pot, and bacteria can develop in a situation like that. But with the welded handles, they're attached outside of the pan. That also includes things like the helper handle for the bigger frying pans and pots as well. Welded on, they're sturdy, they're robust. And with Apollo and Proline, the handles are straight, whereas the top range Atlantis, they're ergonomic, the curved handles, which I personally find a lot more comfortable, but it's very much a personal thing, what you like the look and feel of. What you also get with all three is, in the first 3 layers of all the ranges, you have what's called triple induct. Triple induct is 3 layers that are merged together, and they make the cookware 30% more efficient, particularly when used on an induction hob. Demeyere created their cookware primarily to use on induction hobs. They're most efficient on induction hobs, but you can use them on all stove tops. You will still benefit from their weight, highly conductive metals, and still be able to produce well-prepared meals. But with the triple induct, makes them a lot more effective when you use induction hobs. It also means you can use the cookware on different surfaces. Start on top, place it in the oven, and you potentially get around, for example, warping the appliance. You don't have to take the food out and place it into another pot or pan, for example. You can just switch between different cookers. So that's technology you get in the first 3 layers, Proline, in Apollo, as well as Atlantis. With Apollo and also with Proline, they are base to rim. So the first 3 layers, triple induct, and then the next 3 layers are aluminium, 3 layers of aluminium, and then above that, the 7th layer is 1810 stainless steel. As I mentioned before, it's all base to rim, so you get that heat going through the entire pot, all the way to the very top. Looking specifically at Atlantis, the top range, same as Apollo and also Proline, in that the first 3 levels are the triple induct, and then the next 3 layers are silver, copper, and then silver. And then above that, you have 1810 stainless steel. Aluminium is a good heat conductor. Above aluminium, you have copper, which is it's a better heat conductor than aluminium. And above copper, you have silver, which is an even better heat conductor than copper. It's amazing. It's fantastic. So within Atlantis, they've put the best. They have put silver, they've put copper, they've put silver in as well. And then the top, as I mentioned, is stainless steel. So what you'll find is an appliance that is highly responsive. It's able to draw up the heat, very evenly spread it across the base, and then it maintains the heat within the pot or the pan. With Atlantis, all the layers are within the base. It's not base to rim, it's all within the base, and the technology is called inducto seal. So that is the unique feature of Atlantis. They're weighted products. The bigger the item is, the heavier it is. And what you'll find with the bigger frying pans, saucepans, you literally need two hands to be able to lift them. With one hand, it's almost impossible because of the weight, and of course you have the helper handles. But with Atlantis, the silver and the copper make the range incredibly responsive, highly conductive metals, making it a fantastic range when it comes to being able to pick up the heat, spread it evenly, and maintain the heat within the appliance. So that is the key feature when it comes to Demeyere. And then the cost, copper is expensive in its own right, and then you throw in silver, a metal that's not as readily available, it's more expensive. And then when it's placed in the context of pots and pans, you're using bigger quantities, and hence the cost associated with Demeyere. You're looking at possibly 50% on top of typical prices you get from Moville, from All-Clad, for example. But I'm going to include links to the products in the description box down below. I sincerely hope I've redeemed myself with this video, with all the people who are waiting for Demeyere and also Staub. Any comments, thoughts, questions, as always, in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. To my viewers, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon.